called BAM Global, and we formed a consultation that's focusing on a very real need in the business as mission community around the world. It's not just international. It's, it's at home here in the States. It's in whatever country you happen to live in. Um, it, but it is this issue of wellness, and we recognize that there's very little in the way of resource to help people that are doing business as mission, particularly overseas. In a mission agency setting, there's often a member care function. There's a member care leader or team. In the business as mission world, most of the folks are just independent, and they're out there on their own. And we hear a lot of, I'm lonely, I'm isolated, I'm overwhelmed, all these things, that you would say, yeah, I would expect that. And that is their world. And we've actually formed a task force to start finding resources. Congratulations, you just got added to the list. But resources to help. But I'm wondering, just as long as we've got people listening, in the world of business as mission, if you said, there are 2 or 3 pieces of counsel I just want to give to the audience. It's not going to solve all your problems. It's not going to be a magic, wow, my life has changed, but would at least set them on the right path. What would you say to this group I'm describing?
I'm glad to hear that you're working on this part of the business right aspect, because it is isolating. I'm going to first really quick correlate it to, as a mental health therapist, that work is very siloed. It's very isolating. Even when I work with a team, right, in the same building, it's isolating because I can't share my work. So I want to first put that out there. Like, I get that part, right? It's whether you're physically separated from a lot of people you're connected to, or you're in the same building and you can't share things. It's hard. It is hard. But I think that, a couple of points, or just encouragement, I want to offer it as encouragement. And that's, you can take back some of that control, right? Talking about the things that are in my book, reading it, implementing some of it, just because it helps you feel like you're regaining some power in areas you don't feel like you have it. Even if you can find, 1 or 2 people to stay connected with and check in periodically, is a great way. I'm happy to feed into the community. I'm happy to welcome anybody into my community. I send newsletters out once a month just with different tips. But it is finding that way to build your tribe. And I think what I would offer to that is, it doesn't necessarily have to be people who are doing the same work. It can be, if you really need that support and that understanding from somebody. But it's just somebody that you're doing life with when you're not working on business, right? And you can get out, and let's say you have hobbies that help you feel like you're getting filled up, right? For me, it was always out with the horses. I loved that. Don't have it at the moment, but that really was my theme, right? And so when you can find that one hobby or activity, but have somebody to do it with you, that's going to have a huge impact, right? And it can be one person you're connecting to wherever you live, and you have this shared thing that you do to just do life, to just enjoy. And that's going to be a huge component. Like, you can find it wherever you're at. I do believe that, right?
So, for something where, yeah, actually, you would go there. I was just thinking about this morning, sort of anticipating our call, about Elijah, and after his, massive confrontation with the prophets of Baal at Mount Carmel, he goes running off into the wilderness to hide from Queen Jezebel. And his complaint to God is fascinating to me, and that is, I and only I am left. And so your point is, and clearly he was in a mental, social isolation, but he really wasn't. God said, look, there are 7,000 others just like you. And that's what you just said. You just said to the people, I feel alone, I'm cut off, I'm isolated, nobody gets me. Yeah, you're not the only one. There are people around you, and they may not, I love what you said, Deidre. They may not do exactly what you're doing. That's not the point. It's another human being that you can befriend and begin to do some of life with. Maybe not the deepest parts of life, but there are people around you. And that's thank you for saying that, because that's somebody out there. That's the very piece of wisdom they needed. Like, you know what? You're not really alone. You think you are, you feel you are, but you're not. There's somebody God is putting in your life if you'll just open your eyes and reach out. So thank you for that alone. What else would you say? I'm not gonna make you go on forever, but because you could, and I wish you would. But what else would you say to somebody that's out there feeling they're just feeling overwhelmed? We've already talked a little bit about just feeling alone, and they're also overwhelmed. I mean, just the mental stress of all that they're doing, living in a different culture, perhaps a new business, perhaps whatever. What when you're feeling overwhelmed? You've been there. When you're feeling it, what do you do? You've already mentioned the breathing, which is really incredibly simple and practical. What's one more thing that I could do? Let's say it could be me.
Yeah, so overwhelm. That is a huge piece of, right, feeling stressed or burnt out. And I think we all feel that way at some point. Um, as far as like some things we can do. So you've probably picked up I'm a very practical person. And I can be pretty point blank, right? Simple, and then people wait, is there more? No, not really. Um it's not this big elaborate plan, and I'm going to say the same thing when it comes to feeling overwhelmed. And I can't hand anybody a big elaborate plan and say do this and it'll fix it, right? I'm all about practicality. That's how I function, and that's how I found it helps a lot of my clients. And so when we're feeling overwhelmed, we have to look at why, right? Is it because I have 20 tasks and I feel like I need to get them all done today? Well, then I just need to relook at my priorities and maybe scheduling them out, right?
Mhm.
I still use a paper planner. That is how I schedule out my tasks for my business. So I don't see them all at one time. I can't see them all in one list. That's overwhelming, right? So if it's mentally overwhelming, then you have to just find some practical ways that help you clear that mind from your mind, right? Because part of being overwhelmed is that it's mental, it's a mental load. And so sometimes it is take a planner and just schedule out or put it in your calendar if it's electronic, and just put out like, okay, this task is today's. That one I can do next week, so I'm going to put it next week and then I'll have to look at it. If you're feeling overwhelmed, I'm probably also going to ask, when's the last time you took time off to just fill yourself back up, right? Yes, basic self-care that we all think about is important, and people, I think especially those in business and business owners and healthcare workers, we don't take time off because we know the work's 10 times more when we come back.
This is going to be piled up like an avalanche waiting for me when I get there. Yeah.
It is, but your entire system, physical body, nervous system, your brain needs that time off to come back, right? So I think when it comes to overwhelm, we have to look at what is it that's overwhelming you, right? If it's too much and a practical strategy helps, great. If it's I'm just overwhelmed and need a break, take a break. That's again, right? Comes back to listen to your body, listen to the Lord, and unlock what you need within you, right?
Mhm.
We all have systems that help, but in a moment of overwhelm, we just don't think it's going to work.
Mhm.
But we need to connect back to it.
So, last question for you, and then we'll come in. We'll start wrapping up. So, you do a lot of the coaching and mentoring uh, and consulting with people. You do it remotely. They don't have to come to your little town. And so, I would assume that some of our listeners who live in even other countries could access you virtually if they wanted some coaching and help in this area. I would certainly encourage many of them to do that.
Yeah.
So you're not in your head. So I'm taking that as a yes, definitely
Absolutely.
do it. So just so you'll have it, listeners, the contact information for Deidre, it's Deidre, Deidre, at abundantwellnessessentials.com. and that's also her website. So if you want to go there and learn more, it's just abundantwellnessessentials.com. Go learn, see the diagrams, check out the book. But if you want to book time with Deidre, just to check in,
Yeah.
I can tell you from knowing her just a little bit, she's not going to high pressure you into signing some lifelong contract. She's just here to help and share what she's learned. So if you're interested in a conversation with her, just pop her an email and she'll tell you where to go from there. Deidre, last word is yours. Any last word of encouragement or counsel or comfort or wisdom to our audience, which is literally around the world?
Yeah. I think what I would say is I just want to reiterate more just a couple things, and that's you're not alone. Nobody ever is. And it just takes reaching out to one person, right? Just connecting. Um, and with that, trusting yourself. We need to get back to trusting ourselves. We know what we need, right? And God guides us in that. And we just need to trust it again. So you're not alone. Reach out to somebody and trust yourself. That's really what I want to, I think, encourage is you know what you need, and you just need to give yourself permission. There we go.
Yeah.
We have to give ourselves permission.
To be human, right? At the end of the day, it just you, and that's a great thing. That's not a weakness. That's a great thing because God made us this way. Deidre Gesson, thank